Oh, hi everyone. Hi FSM family. Hello Global TV. Hello sa mga Filipino Canadians. Hello po sa mga Life Without Rice community and sa LCFF community. It's so very exciting today kasi some of you may be seeing me for the first time. Many of you have been followers of my own page. This is a collaborative broadcast between me and a very special lady, si Dr. Josephine Rojo po. I will be Grace, Dr. Josephine Grace Rojo. I will be bringing her shortly, but just to give you a bit of a background, sa mga hindi pa po nakakakilala kay Dr. Grace. So I think this is a momentous day dahil finally, the reach of our platform, my own personal platform, right now is mainly sa North America, in the Philippines then, but some of you may not be aware that there is an ongoing change na nangyayari na po sa Philippines kasi people are getting to realize na a lot of the mga problema sa health, yung mga problema po natin na nakikita sa lipunan natin ngayon is tied in with lifestyle. So, ngayon po nagkakaroon na tayo ng panibagong approach sa pag-deal with these conditions in a way na mirrors what's happening here in the West. Sa mga hindi pa nga po pala nakakaalam, ito po si Dr. Iris. I am currently practicing. I'm a medical doctor po dito sa Vancouver, dito po sa Canada. And yeah, dito po sa Western world, ang way that we practice medicine, most of us at least, dahil po sa evidence na nakikita po namin na karamihan ng mga modern day diseases ng mga tao is caused by lifestyle. So nagkakaroon na po ng tinatawag na parang holistic approach, yung pong functional medicine. You've probably heard the term. It goes by different words: functional medicine, integrative medicine, holistic medicine, mga ganun po, ano. And so I was so happy to come across this very inspiring young doctor who's starting to revolutionize itong concept na ito sa Philippines. So without further ado, let me welcome si Dr. Grace Rojo. Hi, Grace.
Hello, Doc Iris. Thank you so much. It is such a pleasure. We've been introduced just 2 weeks ago, but I'm already very much looking forward for this day, and of course, now our future collaborations. We both, I think, we can really empathize with each other. Now, before we became very public about it, especially among fellow Filipinos, we've received a lot of challenges and raising eyebrows, especially among our colleagues in the medical field, and to have someone on the same side. It's just so heartwarming and also empowering. So thank you for this invitation.
Thank you so much, Dr. Grace. I know that you are very, very busy. Alam ko po si Dr. Grace is juggling so many roles right now. And nagpaunlak po siya sa atin kahit medyo late na, Friday night. Did you have a busy clinic day today, Grace? Did you do clinic today?
Actually, I spared today to be a non-clinic day, primarily because it's my brother's birthday. And at the same time, as you all know, we are having a master class tomorrow. So I really need time to prepare. But it cannot be helped. There are those patients that need attention. So kahit free clinic day, meron pa rin mga special ones na somewhat emergency because we understand telemedicine or the ones that we do, the consultations that we do online is not actually for emergent cases, just reserved for non-emergent cases. But there are those that needs urgent attention. So hindi naman natin yun. Our responsibility is towards our patients. So ganon pa rin, meron pa rin. But somewhat, it's been spared. And one of the highlights of today is actually this talk.
Oh, that's so nice to hear. But happy birthday kay brother mo, ha? It's good that you got a chance to spend the day with him. And you're so right. I can just see your dedication dun sa sinabi mo. You know that even though that's the reality of the life of being a doctor, and especially in today's connected world, minsan nagpapahinga ka and then the messages come and telemedicine is there. It's a great tool. You just have to know how to balance it para naman syempre tayo that we are also always coming from a
Human
place
beings
na
as well.
of course, tama, di ba? Yeah, so Dr. Grace, just so ano, kasi again, it's a shared platform natin. So I guess yung magiging format ng talk natin as you have suggested na I think ang ganda nung suggestion mo na why don't we like give them a bit of a background about us and what we do and how we came to this. And
Yes.
so, dahil ako ang host ngayon, ako muna magtatanong sa'yo. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, Dr. Grace, tell us how this started out for you. Like, how did this new way of unang-una practicing medicine, ikalawa lifestyle, how did this, how did you start itong ganitong klaseng lifestyle?
Okay, so for those our friends, no, who've been following our pages, so I'm so glad that we are collaborating because I think you have followers who knew you so well, and I also have mine who knew me so well, and I think to those who are following the page, I would really love you to get to know Doc Iris as well because seldom you can find similar advocacy when it comes to health. So as per my background, and actually it's not the first for someone to ask how I reached this point. First, medicine. So people go into medicine to study medicine to become a doctor for many reasons, mostly to help others, to find cure. Mostly it started as personal. Like each of us has their own loved ones, meron tayong mahal sa buhay na something happened before that triggered us to really make sure that we go into medicine to somewhat help or at least prevent those illnesses coming to our families, especially that we understand that so many illnesses are considered now familial. So if a family member died of that disease, the probability of other family members dying of that same disease is actually quite high. So that is also the reason that is no different with me. So good thing I was able, with the help of supportive families, I am able to finish medicine. And since I'm really fond of using my hands, so I became a surgeon. So my specialty is ears, nose, throat, and head and neck surgery. And actually, my primary goal is to become a plastic surgeon because I am into beautiful things. I want to make things more beautiful in any way. So I realized after graduating that you can't become a plastic surgeon directly. And especially since my concern is facial plastic surgery in Philippines, you have to undergo general ENT and hand and neck surgery. So that's what I studied. So I just finished my residency. It's a 5-year residency program of ENT, but somewhere along the way, I think I was in second or third year when my father passed away because of complications of diabetes, only at the age of around 55. And out of 8 siblings, 4 of them died apart. Okay, 4 years in, and all because of diabetes and related complications. Okay, so I thought that's just inevitable. The moment you are diagnosed as diabetic, you will be succumb to death anytime soon. And somewhat part of it, we accepted that I'll become diabetic as well. Especially, I think in starting at the age of 25, I've always had an impaired fasting glucose. So for our listeners, impaired fasting glucose is, in layman's term, it's like borderline diabetic. So that's what is being considered. So I just accepted that until I came across with my readings that there are certain groups that are actually practicing fasting. They're fasting for days, they're fasting for weeks, and it's mainly because of healing. So I got interested and somewhat in a way, I felt, how come I didn't know this? How come I feel we've studied in the best schools in the country, and how come this wasn't ever emphasized? And I searched deeper, and I went back even to our medical textbooks in medicine, biochemistry textbook, and it's there. The mechanism of how our body is capable of surviving days of no food intake is there. It's just that it was never emphasized in such a way that it can be utilized as a tool, as you said it, to heal. Because most of our diseases today actually is brought about by chronic and too much food intake. And what we need now is no more addition of any food or supplements or any other things, but just a pause, a necessary pause of the food that we've been eating, especially with the wrong foods that we've been eating. Yes, we may not do long fasting, but we can at least stop eating the junks that we've been feeding and especially been brainwashed as essential. So it started there when I was around my fourth year in residency. I was fasting already. I think the longest fast I did then was around 12 days. I started with 4.5 days of water only fasting, and I did 12 days. And every day since then, I haven't had a meal of more than 3 meals. Maximum will just be 2 meals, and mostly it's just one meal. And when you actually engage into intermittent fasting and 1 or 2 meals a day, or removing one meal in a day, you'll realize you'll have so much spare time. You'll have so much available time that you usually been spending preparing food, chewing your food, digesting food, and even the thermal effect of food where you feel sleepy, while you feel weak, when you just want to lie down. And those gave me the boost to have to make use of my time, and that's where I was able to publish 3 books, mostly related to health and wellness. So that's actually a product of fasting and got nothing else to do. But of course, I made sure, of course, to my mentors, to my consultants in ENT, I made sure that my basic responsibility as a physician in training was never left out. So I think that's how I started, and slowly I advocated to my family, my friends, and word of mouth came in. And right now we are about more than 200,000 strong in Life Without Rice, a group of food inspirations, just food inspirations of what it looks like to have a meal without rice. Because for us Filipinos, akala natin kapag sasabihan tayo ng walang kanin, ano na lang yung kakainin ko? As if kanin lang yung kinakain natin. So this is an inspirational group related to food, and another support group for those who are into fasting and those that have questions regarding low carb nutrition and fasting. We also have low carb feasting and fasting community also in Facebook for those who are seeking more advices on how to do it properly. So that's my story, and I'm glad that because of this we were able to cross paths.
Oh, that's such an inspiring, amazing story. Wow, alam mo, ang daming makaka-relate because I think it's so common sa society natin. And actually, isa na ako doon dahil we have really this similar story. Parents also are both, diabetic. So my mom and dad, in fact, my dad just passed away nitong January. And again, it's from the same thing. It's complications of diabetes. And this is a story that's very, very common sa ating society, even
Yes.
sa mga nandito na sa Western world or yung mga umalis na ng bansa na supposedly dapat meron ng better means of
Yes.
taking care of their health, right? And so
Yes.
I think it really stems from that, yung ating own personal experiences. So certainly in my case, parehas na parehas tayo, Dr. Grace, and yeah, I think ito yung isa sa mga pinaka-powerful motivators for us to really change is when it happens to us, someone we
Yeah.
love or sa sarili natin. And so, yeah, napaka-inspiring ng journey mo. And yung sa akin naman, because I said that I will also share para, our followers can get to know us. Ganun din po, mainly sa akin, that was in combination with, so I knew beforehand, parang katulad din kay Dr. Grace, that it was running in the family, and we've lost many loved ones so early, like 50s, 60s, because of strokes, heart attacks, complications of diabetes. And then, of course, dumating sa akin, Dr. Grace, medyo yung trajectory ko was parang nag-open up yung holistic. It became part of the package ng holistic medicine for me.
Yes.
Kasi at that time, I actually suffered from the burden of stress. So this paved the way sa akin to seek a better way. And so if my followers know sa FSM Filipino Success Movement that the thrust of the platform really is to promote harmony. So harmony in key aspects of life, kasi that is my story. Di ba usually your mess is your message. So what happened to me was yun nga, because of stress and burnout, I used to work in the ER. So ang story ko naman, dati po I graduated in the Philippines. Dati akong pharmacist, and then I became a doctor. Nagtrabaho ako sa cruise ship kung saan international
Mm.
cruise lines. That's where I met my husband. And then we immigrated dito sa Canada. And dito sa Canada, I became a doctor here. I used to work in the ER. So, dati po akong emergency room doctor. And then,
Physician.
sa sobrang stress ng buhay and everything was falling apart, I just had to take a pause. Parang yung sinabi mo nga tungkol sa pagkain. Many times we just have to take a pause and really reevaluate our life, what's important.
Yeah.
And so that's what happened to me, a complete turnaround. So from a stressful, unhappy, severely, depressed, anxious individual, I started to find ways. So that's why I got into the practice of actually mindfulness, Dr. Gray. So
Yeah.
that was my first introduction to a healthier lifestyle, is when I started my mindfulness practice. So sa mga hindi po nakakaalam, mindfulness practice is a way of living kung saan yung ating pong mga ginagawa, we become more aware. So for example, and part of that practice, the involuntary, informal, dalawa kasing klase yun, may formal, may informal. Just not to get into too much detail, but the informal practice is mindful eating. And dahil I came across mindful eating, doon na nagbukas yung pathway for me to discover. Kasi I started studying the science behind it. Alam mo naman tayo, di ba, mga doctors,
Yeah.
we like
Oh,
medicine. Di ba, so
yeah.
many
We've been
people,
a doctor in the first place because we are fascinated with science.
totoo. And we love to give our patients yung talagang advice na steeped in the evidence. Kasi lalo pa ngayon, nakikita natin, naglilipa na there's so many sources online. Kasi ang dali na
Yeah.
ngayon, right? Technology, it reaches so many people. And it's heartbreaking to see na maraming mga pinapalaganap ngayon na hindi naman talaga, wala
Yeah.
naman talagang scientific basis. And so,
Yeah.
eto tayo, Dr. Grace, we have our training. So why don't we use
Yeah.
yung ating knowledge, ang ating capacity to influence para ipalaganap yung mga concepts na talagang backed by evidence. And
Yeah.
so, that's how I got into it. I studied the science and I came across yung concept ng fasting. Kasi nga, mindfulness practitioners usually don't eat a lot. They usually don't consume, they eat, in a very particular way.
We eat just to live.
Exactly. And usually
Eat just
very, yung parang nourishing yung kanilang mga kinakain. And
It's
so I started,
supposedly for a reason. It's not just kasi yung with regards to mindful eating, it's really important because if we really mind our eating habits, we wouldn't have more than 50% of the illness that we have. Most of the time, we are only basing our food intake based on our palate, kung anong lasa. Dahil masarap. Doon lang tayo nakafocus sa masarap. But if we focus closely, by the words that you've said, be mindful, you'll really know that most of the time, actually, we are eating more than half of what we need.
that's
So
so
that's
true.
already the problem.
And also, yun nga yung ating culture, right? Like parang nakasanayan na ang kultura, okay, 3 times a day kakain ka, tapos paggising mo na umaga, kain ka agad ng rice, right? And then, kain ka agad. It's a cultural thing, it's a palate thing din, and really just lacking awareness that hindi naman talaga, we've lost track of paying attention to what our body is really telling us. Many times, yung katawan natin, hindi naman talaga siya gutom, but it's being forced by habit, right? Like by habit, and sometimes influenced then kasi you go out with friends and what are they eating? Junk, right? And so,
Yes.
nagiging siya until it becomes deeply ingrained. And you
It's
don't
already become a
even,
habit.
yeah, you're sitting in front of the TV, naubos mo na pala yung, it's so mindless. So mindless. Hindi ka aware na ginagawa mo yon, ang effect nun sa'yo, right? And so, yun yung naging pathway ko naman. It was through the pathway of harmonious living that I discovered, low-carb eating, intermittent fasting, and really geeked out on the science behind it. And so, itinayo ko rin, just like you, Dr. Grace, itinayo ko yung platform to raise more awareness about harmonious way of living. And syempre, pumasok na kasi dun yung, intermittent fasting is one of
Everything.
the avenues, right? And so, yeah, yun lang din yung naging story ko. And yeah, exciting to just share that. I don't know if many of my followers Some of them probably know I've talked snippets here and there of what brought it on, but that really is what the platform is all about. Some people come to us because of healthy living. They've seen some of the healthy, eating videos. Other people come to us because they've seen my videos about stress. Kasi yun talaga yung aking parang, that's where
Niche.
yeah. And then some people come to us because of yung mindset. Kasi I talk a lot about mindset. These are the things that help me come out of that, depth of depression. Yung na-feel ko po na I was like in that lowest point na parang sabog na yung buhay mo. And so those messaging, yung mga videos na ilalabas ko about that, I think some people found that and that's how they came to my platform. Pero ito nga, here we are finally, and yeah, so I'm just so very happy that we get to do this. Wonders ng technology. Nandyan ka saan ka nga ba, Dr. Grace? Tell them.
Right now, I'm in Bacolod. So it's in the Visayas, Negros Occidental. So it's quite far from Manila. It's what I said, it's just a one ride away from Metro Manila, but via plane. Okay. So I'm here in Bacolod. I'm practicing here right now. But I do online consultations, especially for whole Philippines and also even abroad, Filipinos abroad, since right now they're really having a hard time, people who are into low carb, and whenever they consult with doctors who are not that knowledgeable about nutrition, so they do not get the necessary and sound advice, because there are a lot of changes when you do low carb. And I would just like to add, with your focus on mindfulness and stress management, you might not, I'm not sure if you know already, but I said I wrote three books. The first book, the title was Perfect at Last Weight, Evolutionary Perspectives Guide on Attaining an Ideal Body Weight the Fastest, Most Natural Way. That's just a long way of saying it is a fasting protocol for weight loss and for healing. Okay. The second one is Perfect Last Health, is Eat to Heal. So what are the things that you should do, that you should eat if you want to heal? So it's diabetes, high blood pressure, cancer, and all those. It's all the complete protocol. And lastly, actually, I've become somewhat known to my followers because of my advocacy about health. But actually, the third book that I wrote is also the one's closest to my heart. It's entitled Perfect Last Wellness, Internal Calm Amidst External Chaos. So by that
Beautiful.
subtitle, so it's actually about mental health and stress management, and maximizing potential of each of us, because I believe there's not just one potential. You don't just get to become a doctor, you don't just get to become an artist, not just a dancer or whatever. You can be so much more if you know how to handle them beautifully and without getting into the chaos of stress of the world, external factors, pressures from friends, even pressures from family. So I'm really with you in this mindfulness practice, since I do that myself. And I'm so happy that we are in tune in more ways than one.
Oh, I didn't know that, Dr. Grace. Yet I still have to read your books. And yeah, thank you for sharing. I will get them. Available ba sila sa Amazon? Are your books available in Amazon, Dr. Grace? I think I may have lost her.
Yes,
So,
it's
yeah.
available in Amazon.
Okay, I will make sure na to get those books. And sa mga nakikinig po nito, we'll be posting some
No, you
links
will get a copy
later.
of those good. I will just need your, actually, I will just need your shipping address, and we will ship it to you.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much. Yeah. And actually, parehas, ayan, dito naman tayo nag-parallel ng journey kasi because again of my, also, my own personal journey nga dito sa holistic wellness, I also was able to write a book. And so I never really promoted my book.
Wow.
I have not actively promoted my book. Para po sa mga interested,
Why?
I have written a book. Because I'm trying to like promote a little bit more of the concept para maintindihan nilang maigi. But just in case you are in North America po or anywhere, I'm not so sure if my book can be delivered in the Philippines. But yung mga meron pong access sa Amazon, if you look up my name, So Iris Radev, MD. I have written a book. It's called Meaningful Success Principles. And again, it's really talking about this whole, what the platform is all about. It is harmonious living well in the key aspects of life, in your relationships, in your mental health, in your spiritual health, and syempre nandun na rin yung health, physical health. So, yeah. So I guess, ayan na, meron na naman tayong, parehas tayong nagkaroon ng parallelism with, the product of our own, diba, transformation. Out of that came books. So, ayan po, sa mga gusto pong maka-access din nun. Yeah. So, Dr. Grace, ayan na, finally, before pala tayo, we move on. Let me see, there are so many comments here. Let me just pull up one by one para ma-acknowledge natin. Many times yung comments naglalag. So, pasensya na po sa mga hindi mababasa sa ngayon, but I'll try to pull up as many as possible. Nandito po si Maluz Villa. Oh, she follows us both. Thankful po sa mga binabahaging kaalaman. Oh, thank you. And andito rin po si Grace from Facebook. Hi, Grace. Tuna is tuning in from YouTube. Sabi niya, so glad I watched this live. Been doing fasting for religious purpose, but when I notice I do fast the next day, I don't eat much. I can control what I intake. That's the beauty of fasting. You start to pay attention again sa mga signals na binibigay sa'yo ng body mo. And yeah, Ronaldin is here. Si Miss Grace, ayan, ang isa pa po nating friend, si Miss Grace. I recently did a talk about mindfulness with Miss Grace. Hello daw. Yeah, and we have also Merlin. She's tagging her friend. Thank you very much, Miss Merlin, for tagging your friend. Andito rin si Leanne. Oh, member daw siya ng Life Without Rice. Thanks for being here, Leanne. And syempre, ayan, si Ronaldin, she'll be joining the group daw. So she's our member dito sa FSM and ating VA, and she'll be joining daw the group. Andito rin po si MZ Lubolano, watching from Hong Kong. Hello po sa mga kaibigan natin dyan sa Hong Kong. Yeah, si MJ Morales, so inspiring story. Maraming salamat po for appreciating our stories. And si Riza Janice Hinlayagan is also here tagging her friend. Thank you very much. And yeah, so they're tagging their friends sa mga meron pong mga mahal sa buhay, your friends, your relatives who you think can benefit from this talk. Please do tag them kasi it may just change their lives po. Yeah, so Mylene is also here. Oh, ayan, Dr. Grace, tingnan mo ang sabi ni Mylene. I think I lost Dr. Grace. Dr. Grace, are you still there? Ayan.
Yeah.
Naglalag ba? Medyo naglalag,
It's with me. It's okay. I can hear you well.
Okay. Yeah, so ayan. And then, thank you very much, Mylene, for your comment. Si Merlin, Del Rosario is also here. Elsie Diaz, hello po. Ayan, si Miss Lulu, one of my patients. I agree, Doc Grace, the way fasting can do to our body, following your meal without rice, any kind of carb, more power. Yeah, so si Miss Lulu, she's very healthy. She's one of my patients dito sa Canada. So yung, yung Facebook group ni My Food Inspiration, ang tawag po doon is Life Without Rice. Yun po yung group ni Dr. Grace, Life Without Rice. And what's the other one, Dr. Grace? Is that LCFF?
Low carb feasting and fasting community.
Yeah,
so we
low
do
carb
feast with low carb and then we fast.
Okay, very good. Actually, I'm member too nung groups po na yun recently lang, nung nagkakilala lang kami ni Dr. Grace. So I'm really encouraging yung mga followers din po natin ng FSM. You can join them din po. Kasi it's gonna be a really good resource for you to also, pag-focus po natin sa health aspect, then it's a great resource for you kasi marami siyang mga food pictures, inspiration. And sabi daw ni Marlene, wow, she's watching from YouTube. Need to know how to eat properly whilst on eating window. Yes, Miss MJ Morales. Doon po, marami pong inspiration, inspiring picture posts ng mga pagkain na kinakain talaga ng mga totoong tao. Hindi lang yung mga pang-recipe.
Yes.
Recipe po, Yan. And then Marisol Gates. Hello, Miss Marisol. Thanks for tuning in.
And actually, the members are very, very kind. to
Oh, that's
share
great.
their ingredients and recipes. Halos lahat ng pagkain talaga. Just type in your favorite food, especially Filipino food. Kahit kakanin, meron ng low-carb counterpart.
Very nice. Yeah. So sabi ni Tuna, need to love to join that group, want to learn about fasting. Nagagawa ko lang mag-fasting for religious, but this time more healthy side. Ayan, motivators daw tayo, Dr. Grace. Yeah, and Marlene, you're so pretty daw, Doc Josephine Grace. Yeah. So, ayan pa po. Ayan, ito yung Facebook group din ng for yung namang mga group members ni Dr. Grace who also want to like look at yung other aspects. Kasi sa FSM, we also talk about other things like, health, business, mga ganun po. So, kung kayo naman po ay coming from that group and you're interested in this new success mindset that's not in the traditional way, like meaningful kind of success po, then probably you can also join our group. So it's an open invite po sa inyo. So MJ Morales, I admire both of you, Dr. Iris, Dr. Grace. You both look very young. Yeah, si Dr. Grace po mas bata sa akin, di hamak. Medyo na po ako. Actually, one of her mentors is my classmate. So that gives away yung aming age gap. But yeah, thank you po for your compliment. And stay tuned lang po para magkaroon tayo ng maraming ideas about how we can really like live holistically without much stress. Ano po? Ayan. So, sabi ni Miss Grace, we know her both, di ba, Dr. Grace? So, dad passed away, daw,
Yes.
39 years old. Wow. Yeah, so sorry to hear that
Very
po. Yeah, pare-parehas po tayo, nawalan na lahat ng ama.
Tatlo tayo.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Tatlo tayo. And all because of, yan. Hopefully nga, bago natin itong lifestyle. Ano po?
Lifestyle diseases. Yeah.
Yes. Elsie Diaz said, I love eating low carb and do intermittent fasting. That's great po. Si Leo Francis, lovely doctors, thank you for healthy advices. Maraming salamat po, sir. Saan man pong bahagi kayo ng mundo naroon. Thanks for tuning in. And Les Ineo, Doc, what will I do kasi pag stressed out and kulang ko sa sleep, tumataba ako? Yeah, it's a great question. And there is a big association po between stress and weight gain. And it's all because of hormones. So, yung metabolic, po natin, nababago dahil po doon sa hormones. And there is a cascade na nangyayari about that. And meron po akong explanation yan. If you can go to YouTube po, meron tayong video about stress, and hopefully po mapanood po ninyo yun. And also si Dr. Grace then mentioned that she has her third book. Hopefully po itong mga resources na ito, and I'll be publishing more videos about this, but hopefully these resources can help you to figure out ditong natural way po to de-stress so that you can actually live a better life. And parehas po kami ni Dr. Grace, we're advocates for that. And so just look at our resources po that we offer online, sa YouTube, sa mga pages po namin. Stay tuned lamang po. And maybe our books can also help you. Nasa Amazon po yung mga libro namin.
And of course, no, we couldn't really agree more for Les, no? Kasi kahit anong fasting pa natin, kahit anong low carb pa natin, but if we allow stress to dominate in our lives, no, tataas pa rin yung sugar natin at inflammation sa katawan. So it's really important to address that. And also sleep. So yun nga sabi ko, sleep is as important as we eat. So the quality of sleep is similar to the quality of food. Without proper correction of our circadian rhythm, which is like the mother of our hormones, kahit gaano pa kaganda yung pag-IF mo at pag-low carb mo, of course those are important. But without adequate quality sleep, hindi talaga yan mako-correct. But so, since this is a public platform and magkakaiba yung biochemistry ng kada tao, although there's a general guidelines, but for specific concerns, we really advise to consult your doctor, no? Especially if those doctors who are knowledgeable with low carb, so that they can guide you well. We can address. Kasi there is a way to correct that. Kahit night shift ka pa nagtatrabaho, kahit nag-iiba ka pa ng time zone every week, may paraan to be not that stressed and still have that quality amount of sleep. Yes, it's good that you recognize already that you have problems with sleeping and stress. That recognition
medyo
Yes.
naputol yung ibang parts. But yeah, so I certainly agree. And lagi ko po ding ina-emphasize sa inyo, yung sinabi po ni Dr. Grace, that really is the parang crux. Kaya nga po, when you talk about yung mga source, right, like the root cause, yung kanyang pinapractice, the root cause type of practicing healing, kung saan we address yung main cause. It really is true. Kahit ano nga po talaga, I'm gonna echo what she said, kahit anong ganda ng inyong pag-fast, ng inyong paglo-low carb, pero you don't, kaya nga dito pumapasok yung concept ng harmony. If you don't look at the other aspects, and I always emphasize this about sleeping well, kahit yung team ko, the team that works for me, I ask them to create a schedule and really, really emphasize, kailangan yung matulog ng tama, ng maaga, circadian rhythm, kasi meron yung really powerful, interplay into like productivity, inflammation, health, and so even your creative
Even appetite.
process, even appetite. Yeah. So very, very important po ito. Part po yan ng holistic, yung tinatawag namin yun nga, yung functional medicine type of healing po. So marami pa pong ano yan, and just stay tuned kasi this may be one of the many times that Dr. Grace and I will be coming to you live together. So, which is very exciting kasi alam mo po maraming questions. This is just an intro, a primer for you to get to know us and probably, like have this awareness kasi sabi nga ni Dr. Grace, pag aware ka na, oh, merong problem, I'm stressed. That awareness will lead you to look for answers and that will lead to change, motivate you to change. So that's, kahit yun man lamang ang maidala nitong una naming broadcast, kung first time nyo kami nakikita, then that's a great start po. So, basahin ko lang ito, Dr. Grace, sabi niya, meron siyang tanong dito, a little bit specific. Paano po ba mag-start ng water-only fasting? Sige, I'll leave that for Dr. Grace to answer.
So water-only fasting is the kind of fasting na you don't consume anything except water. Of course, it can be pure water. And if you have to do that, like pure water only, just like what Jesus did in the Bible, so you can do that, but with proper meditation, with no physical activity whatsoever. Kung pwede, nagkakaroon tayo ng what we call as meditative fasting, or the fasting that you do without doing anything. It's a form of fasting. But if you intend to continue to doing water only fasting, but with physical activity, say for example, you want to continue working or at least doing your regular household chores, so you might need supplements for that, and those are the electrolytes, because otherwise, if you will just do pure water only fasting, you are actually risking yourself from electrolyte dehydration, because if you keep drinking water tapos ihi ka ng ihi, you are not just urinating water, you are also urinating sodium, potassium, and magnesium. So if you don't replenish them, you might end up on an even greater danger na nagkakaroon ng electrolyte imbalance, and the problem arises there: headache, weakness, vomiting, some even worse kind like confusion. So you have to prepare. So you might need to prepare all of those supplements, but the number one preparation you need actually is the mental mindset. So a proper research, proper reading. So I didn't do my first 4 days and a half fast, not after I've read a lot of articles, journal articles, and also watch YouTube of many long-term fasters, and both, actually I watch both doctors and non-doctors who are practicing long-term fasting before I did it myself. So most of the long-term fasters actually are not doctors. I think among the doctors that I knew, I'm the longest one who fasted, and I know it sounded crazy, but I need to prove it myself. So yes, I was able to complete a 14 days of water only fasting and with electrolytes, and it wasn't easy, and it's something that I do not recommend by anybody to do unless it is under direct medical supervision by a knowledgeable physician or under a medical facility, and of course with a proper indication. What's your reason why you need to do water only fasting? Because if it's just for weight loss, you can do it actually with just OMAD. Daily intermittent fasting can be a best way to lose weight. You can even add ketogenic diet or a fast mimicking diet while just doing 16 hours of fasting. You can still have that. So proper mindset, but a proper also reason, or specific and and concrete foundation of why you need to do it, of why you're doing it, is also very essential. And I'm so happy actually that this talk that we have right now is, yes, it's just a primer, because I know we will still do so many works together. We right now, for those who are watching also, since this is also shown live in my page, Dr. Josephine Grace Rojo, to all of our followers and also enrollees of low carb nutrition and fasting masterclass, which we are doing right now. It is going to be a 1 month learning of 4 Saturdays. So we will have our second day of class tomorrow. And I know for sure, I think it is what we can look forward. I think one of our projects, it could be about wellness, it could be about mental health, holistic healing, and even incorporation of physical activity. I know you are very fit and also into physical training, so those are the things that we can look into, because it's if you really want to improve. And that's why I also commend Doc Iris for spearheading Filipino success movement, because it's not just one aspect; it's everything. But as for me, I focused on health, especially those are the things that sometimes people undermine. They thought so many things, and that's what we emphasize. Those a lot of people fail to realize that if they do not put premium in their health, everything else that they care about will only be up to a certain point. It will not become long term. It will not become sustainable if you will not be there strong enough, healthy enough to witness it, to enjoy all the fruits of your labor. So we really have to take care of our health. So for Feb Bacolod, who asked how to start water only fasting, so actually I also did a lot of videos about that, preparations, necessities, but the most important thing is your mindset and also your reason, if you have to have a concrete foundation, if you really need it, and why do you need it.
Fantastic. So, Dr. Grace, maraming salamat doon sa pag-answer ng tanong na ito. Pero yun nga po, ang masasabi ko about this is, I will agree completely with sinabi ni Dr. Grace. Kailangan talaga alam muna natin, syempre, why. And then kailangan may tama tayong gabay. And so, I would like to emphasize yung sinabi niya, meron kaming, ito nga kaya excited kami sa aming collaborations kasi currently Dr. Grace is doing her master class. So doon po sa mga gustong mag more in-depth dive sa fasting, you are welcome to enroll doon sa kanyang master class. And FSM is also launching very soon actually itong aming Dr. Grace. And I think we will talk more about this kasi we can probably do a bit of incorporation with your program and ipasok siya dito sa program din namin. This is actually coming out pretty soon. It's the FSM Wellness Program. So, sa mga gustong, it's a combination of those things. So, merong, something about healthy eating, merong mga workouts po dyan, na magagabayan kayo, magkakaroon ng live workouts dyan, plus the fasting. And baka, depende po kung mag-agree si Dr. Grace, may be able to incorporate. Yun pong advanced, we can work it out so that merong concept din doon about that advanced fasting protocol. Yung sa mga longer. Pero again, kailangan ng patnubay syempre ng doktor. Kaya nga po, we're hoping to provide, by coming up with these programs, we're hoping to provide the public with yung proper knowledge base po, tamang gabay para magawa ninyo itong mga bagay-bagay na ito in a safe way. Kasi nga po, siguro Dr. Grace will agree with me, we see so many sources out there na hindi naman talaga siya scientific and people listen to them. And so, na kami kasi it leads, maaari po kasing mapahamak yung ibang tao pag nakikinig sa ganon. And so, we, kahit po in reality, ako, Dr. Grace, I don't know about you, but I'm an introvert. I'm very shy. I actually don't, but I had to put myself out there. I'm a very private person. I don't even have my parang personal, social media. I'm not even there engaging, but I needed to do it. I needed to come out in the public para mabigyan ng gabay, right? Like I became a mentor because of that. I'm not a coach, but I'm a mentor because of this need na kailangan magabayan yung mga tao in these different aspects. And so, very exciting yung ating mga programs na lumalabas and yung ito, hopefully we can, come up with for them para
Yeah.
covers the full spectrum. Yung mga tao na beginner pa lang, yung mga gustong mag-advance. So, parehas po na program namin ni Dr. Grace are there for you. So, you can look them up po. Ano? So, Dr. Grace, just to have a bit of a little bit more deeper dive, pag-usapan natin two more things before we end today. Yung una muna is the benefits of fasting. And then, so ito yung ating, so pinag-usapan na natin yan. We talked about our journey. Now we will go to yung benefits of fasting, and later on, yung pong benefits of low carb. So yan po yung kino-cover namin ni Dr. Grace today. So let's talk about, if you would like to just give your bit of information para sa kanila, benefits of fasting.
Okay, so fasting, we have to define it first as the voluntary and conscious decision of not consuming anything containing calories. Okay, so may it be fluid, may it be food, as long as walang calories. And of course, if we are going to be strict about it, kahit walang calorie at hindi rin matamis. Kasi I know there are so many who would like to ask, pwede ba ganito? Because it's 0 calorie, but it has flavor and it's sweet, and it's sweetened by artificial sweeteners. So that is not part of what I call as clean fasting. So why I do clean fasting in the first place? Because fasting, I believe, is a natural way to heal. If I have to quote Marty Kendall, so Marty Kendall is a civil engineer based in Australia. He's an Australian civil engineer, actually, who had optimizing nutrition. And he is also an author, somewhat like a scientist already, but he's actually researched very well on the benefits of fasting and proper nutrition because his wife is a type 1 diabetic. And part of that is knowing how to escape from the chronic autumn. So this is actually quite an overview of our second day in our masterclass that's coming up tomorrow. So kasi it's been said that our way of eating, the modern day of eating, is like autumn. Yung autumn, dun tayo nagpapataba. Dun tayo kumakain ng all of those sorts of foods in preparation sana for a winter na fasting season or kahit 2 seasons pa yan. It's not a full year of abundance of food availability. Yung katawan natin, handang-handang nang mag-fast. We have a natural liking with food because by nature, minsan lang available ang food. So kapag available sana ito, we have to dig in and eat that. And hopefully, in preparation sa panahon na magpa-fasting tayo. But our DNA is no longer adapted. It has not adapted with the idea na wala ng scarcity of food ngayon. Na parang pag-iwanan siya ng panahon. He thought meron pa ring scarcity of food. That's why we've been eating our way, preparing for the fasting time, preparing for the winter time, preparing for the drought na hindi dumadating. So the food related diseases that we have, diabetes, high blood pressure, cancer, tumors, inflammation, autoimmune diseases, kahit GERD pa yan, kahit PCOS lang yan, akala mo hindi lang acne lang yan, but those are actually brought about by too much food intake, especially inflammatory foods like sugar and also the unnatural oils like yung mga seed oils, no? So continuous intake of that piled up in our system at yun ang nagkakause ng dysfunction. And fasting is our chance to have a reset with our system. It's like a cleansing. There's even an experiment that they were able to calculate the aging process coming from DNA. So kasi yung DNA natin, yung mga telomeres nag-shorten over time, all those, so those are signs of aging na kahit hindi mo pa sabihin anong edad mo, there is that normal equivalent, that those amount of errors in our DNA, in our gene, can already approximate your age. And with fasting, that can be reversed. So, hindi naman parang magiging baby ka ulit, but how your body functions can really reset, just like you're a newborn baby. So, the idea behind that is like, para lang yan tayong tao. Kapag wala na tayong pagkain sa pagkainan, we will try to look into our shelves kung meron pang pagkain doon. We will try to look at the deepest part of our refrigerators. Titingnan natin kung may natira pa doon. But if we are always filling our dining table with lots of food, you will never mind the ones inside our refrigerators, the ones up in our cupboard or our cabinets. Hindi na natin yun papansinin. What is there, yun lang yung gagamitin natin. So that is where fasting comes in. Yung katawan natin, it will look for other sources na hindi na touch for the longest time, and it will use that. It will use that and convert that into energy and other essential parts na kailangan ng katawan natin. So it's like changing oil. It's like overhauling. It's like total cleansing talaga. So it's like detox on the cellular level. And that is the concept of autophagy. So autophagy is a concept coming from Greek word autophagus, or self-devouring or self-eating. So it is saying na kinakain ng katawan natin yung sarili niya mismo. But don't be afraid, yung kinakain niya are only the parts that are useless, only the parts that are non-functional. And the moment those parts are eaten, are resorbed, your function, your cellular function will become optimum again. Kasi para siyang kalawang na sumisira sa katawan natin. And fasting can be the fastest and most natural way na parang cleanse yun. And it's not just a fad. There is a reason why, of all things that religions disagree on, they can agree with one thing, and that is fasting. It is always associated with spiritual cleansing, but truth be told, it is also physical cleansing. And comes physical cleansing, clarity of head, clarity of mind, peace, and with that, you can find the answers that you've been looking for, the solutions to your problems, and it can be the start of an overall healing. So that is how beneficial fasting is. Aside from that, sa mga journal articles that are scientifically based, one of the well-studied effects of fasting actually is among rheumatoid arthritis. They did a alternate day fasting, and after a month of alternate day fasting, all the inflammatory markers went down. Nawala yung mga sakit sa inflammation with the joints. And also the Ramadan's way of dry fasting of 14 hours every day. After a month, all of their cholesterol, blood chemistry, on lipids, sugar, and markers of inflammation all went down. It all improved, including weight changes. So fasting is like a restart button to clear our system. So yun yung benefit na yun. And with that, it's primarily because of lowering the insulin in our system. So insulin, I think for your followers, I really love how you call insulin the boss. So insulin is really the boss that dominates our body whenever we eat food, especially carbohydrate-rich food. At kapag nandyan yung insulin, walang autophagy na mangyayari, because insulin will dominate and not autophagy. And contrary sa autophagy na naglilinis, si insulin, siya yung nagkakalat. Siya yung nagkakalat. So we have to make sure that insulin is lower down. And with that, I will just continue with the benefits of low-carb nutrition. Kasi I understand a lot of people are somewhat afraid to do low carb, but they are doing intermittent fasting. So I know a lot of advocates as well that are into intermittent fasting, but not so much in low carb. Sometimes they even use fasting as an excuse to eat whatever they want, given that they've already fasted. But yes, that can be done. But as I said, if you want to optimize the benefits of your fasting, you want to maintain those benefits even while you're eating. And the only way to do that is to do low carb, because low carb nutrition can help you maintain autophagy, can help you maintain the weight that you've lost with fasting, and not add up to the junk na nagpa-pile up sa katawan natin. Because with low carb nutrition, there's also low insulin nutrition. So walang masyadong magkakalat even while we are eating. So what we will just eat, what we advocate, are the foods that are essential sa katawan natin, necessary for our survival. At walang masyadong junk o mga basura na para ulitin na naman yung cycle. When you actually start to eat less junk, your need to do fasting also becomes less. Okay, so but if you keep on eating junk, then you might need to keep on fasting as well. And as much as we love fasting, it's also something na hindi rin pwede i-overdo. Everything that's too much is never good. So for those na akala nila sumusobra na ako sa aking pagpa-fasting, I also believe that with mindfulness, you do not do anything without reason. So kung meron man akong ginawa, it's not mindless decision. It's been thoroughly thought of, planned out, no? And it's for a reason. And so far, I don't regret a thing, especially that I advocate this kind of lifestyle to us a possibility. I'm not saying that it is the answer to all of our problems, but as what we said ni Doc Iris, no, this could be one of the tools that you need. And for my patients, even if I tell them that they can do this, I suggest for them to do that. And if they tell me that it doesn't work for them, so I never scold my patient. I give them the empowerment to decide for themselves. Kasi ako, I can only suggest what I believe will work best for them, but it is them. It is the individual who can really say what will work for them. So sabi lang, yung importante lang, you already know these ideas. You already have this, and you can own this tool. And know that when time comes and something arises that you feel like kailangan mo tong gawin, know that it is a tool that you can use. So it will still be up to the person. And as for benefits, the healing will just naturally come. Our body is so amazing na meron siyang capacity to heal. It's just that chronic eating or yung parating kain every 2 hours, every 3 hours while you are awake, you are not providing an opportunity for your body to heal. Yung katawan natin gustong-gustong mag-heal. Pero kung bibigyan lang muna siya ng pagkakataon. At ano yung pagkakataon? Ano yun? Yun ay actually let it rest. Let your gastrointestinal system, your digestive system, let it rest because the food digestion is very, very taxing. It's very, very demanding for our body. So if you rest that part of your system, your body can now focus on healing wherever it is necessarily needed. May it be in your kidneys, may it be in your lungs, may it be in your liver or in your eyesight. So for those of you who do not know me, I used to wear glasses, no? Prescription glasses for astigmatism. After 6 months of both intermittent fasting, extended fasting, low-carb nutrition, alternate day fasting, I came back to my optometrist. Ophthalmologist is also my friend. Akala ko tataas na yung grade ko sa mata, only to find out it went back to 20/20 vision. So sabi nila, they couldn't believe it because it's the first time they've seen it. And I said, it's the first time you've seen it because it's the first time for you to have a patient who's been fasting. Because fasting can do wonders when done right.
Beautiful. Dr. Grace, I think you summarized everything. Wala na akong ibang masasabi. I really just want to emphasize yung sinabi ni Dr. Grace. For me, the most, why did I become an advocate of it? Kasi exactly yung healing property niya. It wasn't so much of a, I know
Physical
I've been using it.
or all those.
I've been using it for my diabetic patients kasi I really wanted to help them with yung mga metabolic problems, yung mga nakikita ko syempre yung mga laboratory nila. And so I started doing it with my own patients. And nakita ko yung astounding results. I had to take them off medications. They really reversed. Talagang totally reversed yung condition, right?
Things that medications cannot do in years. It can be done in a month time. It's almost unbelievable.
Exactly. And so sa akin, lalo pa ako na-fascinate. And in fact, meron akong ilalabas na video about this Dr. Grace. Maybe Dr. Grace also has her own videos. By the way, also subscribe to her channel. It's good for you to be getting information from both of us para mas yung comprehensive yung context. So I will be publishing a video about this kasi talagang I love the way that fasting promotes healing. Yung mga sinabi ni Dr. Grace about inflammation, about giving the body a chance to pause, reset, cleanse, detox. Yun yung favorite ko dyan kasi talagang, finally, did you guys know that even for things like, maliban sa na-mention ni Dr. Grace about, healing your liver, so may mga fatty liver dyan, yung may mga PCOS dyan, it's also been tied in with helping yung mga proteins that get deposited sa mga taong may Alzheimer's, memory problems, mga ganun po. So it really helps to clean out the mess nga kapag hindi na siya masyadong busy sa pag-digest ng food. So
Yes.
it's just so fascinating po. Ano? And a lot of people think, as Dr. Grace will always say, a lot of people think, oh yeah, gusto ko yan, alternative medicine. It's not alternative. Di ba, Dr. Grace? We always hear that. It
Yeah.
is actually medicine. It is evidence-based medicine. So, sa mga interesado po, again, exciting, lalabas yung kay Dr. Grace na program, more in-depth version ng fasting protocols. Yung program ko naman will have fasting din, and then we'll have some exercise in there and mindset. So, you can probably look at both of those programs. We may look at joining some components of the programs together. So please po, kung bago lang kayo sa concept na ito at gusto talaga ninyo to make a change in your life, then this may be the opportunity you're looking for. Very natural po. So very natural and science-based. So yun po.
And we are also not against medicine. No, we are not against medicine. Actually, we just maximize medicine. We don't want our patients to be just dependent on medicine. So we give them the option. We maximize natural healing first, and if it cannot be done, if medicine is necessary to help, then we prescribe our medicine. In fact, I still have my prescription here. So if I don't believe in medicine, I no longer need prescription. But we need medicine. We just don't need to depend everything on it.
Yes,
No?
I love
Kasi
that.
yung iba, yung gusto nila kapag may gamot na, then they can do whatever they want. So if you are that kind of patient, then it's okay. I will give you your medicine if that's what you want. But what we actually offer you is an opportunity to really you owning your own health. And it will not just be on medicine.
That's amazing. And that's really empowering you guys, right? Ibalik sa inyo yung power to take control
Yung
of your health
control,
again. Kasi
yes.
your body is so wise. Kung alam niyo lamang po yung miracle na ibinigay sa atin, we are given this body that is so wise. It knows exactly what to do. It knows exactly yung mga hormonal pulsations na kailangan niyang gawin kahit hindi niyo siya, involuntarily it's doing it. But you have to empower it. And the way that you empower it is yun nga po, you give it a chance to rest, you optimize it, bigyan mo siya ng magandang fuel. Marami, sinabi nga ni Dr. Grace ito, and I want to emphasize, marami nagpa-fast, tapos cheat, hindi naman cheat day, but when they will eat junk. Again, it's still not optimizing, right? And so that is why we've come up itong mga resources na binibigay namin sa inyo, yung mga videos namin, yung mga programs na ito, to help you really optimize, i-level up po ninyo yung inyong health. Hindi lang na fasting, tapos di ba? So, Dr. Grace, I just wanna greet si Sir Norwin, ang ating common, dahil po kay Sir Norwin, kami ay nagkakilala
Producer
ni
natin
Dr.
yan.
Grace. Producer natin, Sir Norwin. Hello, Sir Norwin. Yeah, glad to see you here po. Ayan, and tingnan ko lang itong mga ibang comments before we go to the final segment. Sabi ni Mile Gas, I believe I can do LC. I have keto with IF correctly. I will be healed soon. Ay, totoo po yan.
No doubt about it.
Yes, no doubt about it. Correct way how to start fasting. So ito po, maybe we will go back to this again. So this is a primer. I think I'm gonna guess Dr. Grace, lang tayo yung parang how to start. Siguro we can do this, Dr. Grace?
Yes.
Just to
start, meron akong video on beginner's guide for intermittent fasting. You can check that in YouTube.
Okay, so check that out.
For now.
Yeah. And meron din tayo po, Miss Marge. Meron din. So watch those two videos sa FSM and Dr. Grace's channel. We both have beginner's guide.
Ang ganda doon. Ang ganda ng ginawa mo. Doon ko na kita yung boss insulin. Gustong-gusto ko yun.
Kasi I want them to easily remember Kasi parang it's such a foreign concept, di ba? Yung if you talk about yung biochemistry na hormones, I really want them to remember.
Even in doctors like us, before we really got deeper into low carb, hindi natin natingnan si insulin that way.
That's so true.
So it's really good to know them well.
Yeah. So finally, Dr. Grace, let's jump into in the interest of time kasi mag-overtime tayo. Maybe very, very quick lang. Very quick. Guys, I will be bringing in Dr. Grace again. Magkakaroon na naman kami ng isa pang broadcast. Lang namin, I think, yung last part nung ating, which is yung benefits na lang ng low carb. So maybe Dr. Grace, just a quick thing on this. So finally, kasi we talked already about yung journey natin, benefits of fasting. Now, ngayon naman, benefits of low carb, and then we will say goodbye, and then we'll bring you again here. Yeah, so
Okay,
benefits of low
so
carb.
yes, because primarily all the junks that we've been eating, majority of them is related to high carbs. So ano yung high carb? High carb are the carbohydrates with a lot of net carbs. Kapag sinasabi nating net carbs, yun yung amount ng carbohydrates na translate into glucose sa ating bloodstream. So, yung carbohydrates, pwede siyang fiber, so yung mga gulay. Pwede siyang starch, yun yung mga tinapay, pwede yung mga root crops, mga kamote, patatas, at pwede din siyang sugar. It can be simple sugar na mga yung asukal natin, it can be the honey, it can be fructose o yung mga pampatamis. So, all of these are sugar. And sadly, if what we are consuming now is no longer the ones rich in fiber or starch, mostly it's just starch and sugar. And when they are in our system 3 times a day for the whole year, so that's 365 times 3. That's more than 1,000 times of spike sa blood sugar natin. And that is equivalent to also similar spike sa insulin natin. And chronic insulin spike is not natural because by nature, sana summer season lang nagsa-spike. During fruit-bearing season lang nagsa-spike yung insulin. But what we have now, what we have in the modern day times is insulin all day, every day, all year round. And that's causing the problems that we have, diabetes, hypertension, high blood pressure, elevated cholesterol, all of those, and including yung sinabi ni Doc Iris kanina. It's causing the Lewy bodies, amyloid deposits that's causing dementia, causing Alzheimer's disease, causing Parkinson's disease, even our cataract in our eyes. So those are protein deposits na na-form because of chronic insulin na elevated sa katawan natin, and that is already considered as insulin resistant kasi yung insulin natin sobrang taas na sa katawan natin at hindi na siya nagpa-function properly, but what it does is just dysfunction, yung pagkakakalat na lang. And one way to cleanse that is fasting, as we said it, but we understand that not everybody can fast, either by physical or mental struggle or challenge or whatever. But there is a hack, and that is through low-carb nutrition. Kasi with low-carb nutrition, kakain ka pa din. For a start, I actually allow myself to eat. I allow my patients to eat 3, 4, or 5 times a day if they want during the transition period. Just make sure they are eating low carb, because by eating low carb, you are lowering your insulin level, at least at baseline level. And when your insulin is at baseline level, you are already allowing yourself to slowly heal, to slowly recover, or at least not continuously adding to those problems na na-cause na yon. Kung ilang taon ka na ngayon, you multiply that with 365 days. You multiply that with how many times you are eating carbohydrates in a day. That's how many times you've been putting burden to your body. And low-carb nutrition is our possibility, is our hope to start. And for those who are interested in fasting, actually, before you do that, I encourage you to start low-carb nutrition first, because getting your body used to not fueling on glucose or sugar, because with low carb, eventually you will now be using fats as energy. So with metabolic flexibility, no, yung capacity ng katawan natin to use both ketones and glucose, to use both fats and carbohydrates as energy, your opportunity, your experience to do fasting easier is much expected, as compared to kumain ka ng donut and pizza yesterday at magplano ka mag-fasting ngayon. That's really feels like you are dying. Sobrang hirap niyan.
Yeah,
So,
sakit sa ulo niyan. Sakit sa ulo.
sobrang sakit sa ulo. At sasabihin mo, those people who did that because they thought they can jump in right there and then, those people are actually not seeing the benefit long term, because eventually pag na-experience nila, they've had a very bad experience at sasabihin nilang, hindi na ako magpa-fast ever, and they already deprive themselves of the opportunity to heal naturally. So sayang. So might as well, if you do it right, and under the supervision, of course, of your trusted healthcare providers who are knowledgeable on these things.
Yeah, that's why it's so important talaga yung last mo na sinabi, really, because when you do it wrong, you lose hope kasi nga it can bring you all these adverse effects. Kaya po, very
Yeah.
important po na meron po kayong proper guidance po, maaaring through your own doctors if they are knowledgeable about it, kasi hindi din lahat ng doctors are knowledgeable about it, and some doctors would still be like very much medication
Against it.
based. Exactly, and medication-based. Ikalawa naman are ngayon, age of technology na po, so you can access other resources. Nandyan po yung program ni Dr. Grace, andyan po yung FSM Wellness Program na ila-launch. So, mga proper guidance po, be part of a community. Andun po yung community ni Dr. Grace, andito rin po yung FSM. So, whichever way, as long as you have po the proper guidance, that's what's important. Kasi this is something that kung sakaling gagawin po ninyo at hindi rin sa tamang pamamaraan, ay maaaring magdulot din syempre ng sometimes it can be dangerous, katulad nung na-mention niya kanina. Minsan hindi mo alam, naglo-lose ka ng electrolytes, you're gonna run into trouble. Pero kung you have the proper guidance, paano nga ba gawin yung 14 days fast? Ako personally, I have not done 14 days. The longest I've ever gone was 3 days kasi because of my body habitus, it prevents me dahil nga katulad ng sinabi ni Dr. Grace
Yeah.
kanina, you have to access din kasi certain stores or if you're correcting something. Sa akin, it's mainly for the diabetes prevention kasi first degree relatives ko, mom and dad, both have yung diabetes. So I really have to do it. But again, proper guidance. Kasi pag nasobrahan din, hindi rin maganda, di ba po? So very, very important to be part of a supportive community. Very important to have the proper guidance through a mentor, through your doctor, and through proper resources. So yun lang, I don't think may idadagdag pa ako dun sa low carb. Sinabi niya na lahat. Obviously, Dr. Grace is such an expert in this field. And so siguro Dr. Grace, maraming nag-request dito na sana po ay pa raw tayo, more collaboration. So ang dami ng mga
Yes.
comments, hindi ko na
I think you
na-pull
can
up.
expect that. Sobrang,
Yes.
sobrang click na click kami ni Doc Iris. You can expect more projects with both of us and we can only imagine the possibility from this day on. So thank you so much po for the support and that encouragement. It will make us collaborate faster.
Opo, talagang the reason really why we do this, di ba Dr. Grace, we can just really get on with our lives and focus on the medicine. But
Oh,
this is kasi a calling eh. Sabi ko nga, parehas kami parang na-pull out sa aming mga shells to really come out and
yeah.
provide this for you guys kasi alam po namin maraming nangangailangan. And so, maraming salamat sa inyong sa inyong pag-support po sa amin, both platforms, and please expect like more broadcasts from us, collaboration sa pag come up with programs that will help you even more. Kasi gusto talaga namin kayo mag-level up, di ba Dr. Grace, sa kanilang health, be
Yes.
holistic.
Wala, hindi tayo
Yeah,
selfish because we believe when you are in tune with your calling and with everything, the universe will provide enough for everybody. Hindi kailangan magdamot. Pwedeng lahat tayo ay mag-successful. Walang dapat maiwan.
exactly. Hatak pataas po, di ba po? Yan ang
Yes.
tagline ng page
Yes.
namin. We always bring here so inspiring people kasi gusto natin naghahatakan pataas. Dahil, as you said, Dr. Grace, and I love your mentality, there's enough for everyone. There's no need na mag-pull down or, magdamot. There's enough for everyone. Abundance. So, yun lamang po. And with this, siguro, we will say good night sa lahat. Good
Good night.
morning sa mga nandito. And yeah, we'll see you again soon. Any last words, Dr. Grace, before we end?
No more last words. Anyway, we will still be seeing each other. So usually, sinasabi ko lang talaga, stay low carb para stay safe po tayo. Bye-bye. Thank you for having
Okay.
me.
Bye, everyone. Bye.